So with that, you can read yourself, but I'm just trying to say a few words about Zvi. As I said before, Zvi, I know him for last 36 years. And when I joined my Columbia Computer Science Department, IT director, he hired me. He was the chairman. And then he became the dean of Columbia Engineering School. Then he became the president of Tel Aviv University, then came back to Georgia Tech, the dean of computing. And after that, a few years, he stepped down to start something very important for the humanity. And he's going to talk about that today. He is also a fellow of ACM, American Academy of Arts and Sciences, and member of National Academy of Engineering. He has honorary degrees. Well, his PhD is from Cornell University, but he got 2 honorary degrees, one from University of Waterloo in Canada, and one from Columbia University as well. He will say what he has been doing for last 9-10 years, but when I was at Columbia, he was the most popular dean of Columbia University, and it has been also recorded in Columbia's magazine. So with that, I'd like to invite Zvi to see what he has been doing and how he's helping to educate the rest of the world. Let's give a big hand.
Before I continue, I'll make 2 remarks. When Ashutosh mentions that I hired him, I tell people that some people sometimes make mistakes. And the second thing is, I wish this seminar the luck of Theory Day at Columbia. I started Theory Day in 1982, and it still exists. There was a break in the pandemic. The next one, next Friday at Columbia. It's not called Columbia University Theory Day, it's called New York Area Theory Day, because one sits at Columbia and one sits at NYU. Because when I managed it for 10, 15 years, and then eventually NYU joined, and now it's both, which is fine. Okay, Ashutosh, thank you for inviting me. I don't get bored. I love to give this talk. This is number 119. 120 and 121 is in the 2 best universities in Japan, University of Tokyo and University of Kyoto in May. And there are 3 or 4 more in the fall. So, and this is the 12th year of this program. So I still love to give it, and there are somebody that wants to listen. Okay, this title is a little bit bombastic. I didn't give it to, so some university gave it, and I like it, so I took it. It also, in the 10th year, it got the best compliment ever, the program. There is a guy, quite important, because he's in the board of American Association of Colleges and Universities, and he also writes in Forbes. And that's the title of his article, the greatest degree program ever. And inside he said that by any criterion, this is the best academic program in history. I'm not sure he's right, but I'll take it. Okay, that I already said. I'll have to rush because I was told it's an hour, now it's down to 50 minutes, so I'll try to finish fast, and I'll skip some parts. The program is called OMSCS, so what are we talking about? Online Master of Science in Computer Science. It's collaboration among Georgia Tech, Udacity, and AT&T. And we have a couple of people here from AT&T, thank you. And you understand why in a minute. It was announced in May 13, and it was launched in January 14. So this is the 12th year. Where are we now? So this was a graduate class, one of the first ones. Usually not all, many of them don't come to graduation. So those who came to graduation, okay? So there were a couple, dozens, but now there are more, and now they had to add another commencement ceremony because of them. It now has 16,000 students. More than about half of the American universities. It's unfair comparison because a student in a university takes 3, 4, 5 courses. A student online takes on average 1.3 courses. Most of them take 1 course. They work full time. But in terms of a number of people, it's huge. And some say, and I have no way to check it, that this is the largest program, online or not online, in any subject in the world. So, and I gave this talk in 17 countries. I gave it several times in India and several times in China. I encouraged them to find larger one. Nobody came back. 13,000 already graduated. 2,000 graduated in each of the 3 years, altogether in the last 3 years, over 7,000. 139 continued to PhD, some of them finished, but a small number. These are people that wouldn't go to master. And now they are on the way, already finished a PhD. It has 55 courses plus 20, we have 2 more programs. So they have 22 more courses, and you can take from the other programs. It's elective. So 67. 5 unique courses, you will hardly find them in any university. 5 with over 1,000 students in the class. And 16, and that's a typo, in AI. Including, in AI, I'm including variations of machine learning. So the talk will have 2 parts. How it started, and what's my vision for online in higher education. And this is a book. People ask me, people are still kind of puzzled, how did you do it? You know, because faculty have very convenient life in universities, and they are usually against any change. So somebody by the name of Rosenberg, that was president of McMaster, that's in Ontario, Canada, he wrote a book, Whatever it is, I'm against it. Resistance to change in higher education. So this is a big question. How do you make a change? And it was a big change. So how did it start? In 2011, there was the first MOOC by Norvig and Tran, AI. It had 160,000 students. Immediately, Daphne Koller and I think Richard Eng had another MOOC, okay, at the end of 2011. Sebastian and Tran and Peter Norvig, they had 160,000, but only 23,000 finished, which was much higher above the usual MOOCs. The usual MOOCs have 1 digit. And we'll get to how many of our students finish. In early 2012, Coursera and Udacity were created, and a bit later edX. Coursera by Eng and Kohler, Udacity by Sebastian, and edX by Anand Agarwal at MIT. These are the 3 platforms. There might be more now, but I'm not sure. These are the 3 platforms for the MOOCs. MOOCs, massive open online course. New York Times called 2012 Tom Friedman, the year of the MOOC. In September, it all started by now, we call now one another brothers, and you'll see why. Sebastian Tran, he visited Georgia Tech, okay? And he came to me and said, Tzvi, let's have MOOC-based online master program for $1,000. I told him, Sebastian, I'm very good with numbers. You know, that's the only thing I'm good at. So I told him, Sebastian, 1,000 will not do, 4,000 will do. And we didn't think about making money. And actually I was right. If you did it at $4,000, we will break even, because there are expenses to create courses, etc. Our leadership were, the great thing about it, they let me do it, because they didn't understand what it is. I didn't understand what it's going to be. I don't make fun of them. Nobody knew. And they said, let's be careful, 7,000. Okay, we'll get to the number in a second. So how did you do it? I'm a strong supporter of the faculty. You know, there is a story of Dwight Eisenhower. I'm not sure you know the history. He was, of course, you know that he was the leader of the Allied forces in the Second World War. And of course, you know that he was 2 terms president of the US. But very few people know that in between, they parked him at Columbia. He was president of Columbia for 8 years, or something like that. And he came to a Senate meeting, and he told the Senate, you, the faculty, are the employees of the university. So there was a little professor that stood in the corner. His name was I. Rabi. You might know that he was a Nobel laureate. And he raised his hand. Mr. President, we, the faculty, are not the employees of the university. We are the university. And I believe in it. And I believe I couldn't do anything without the faculty support. So what did we do? So first, even before we started, Sebastian and I went to the CEO of AT&T, Brandon Stevenson. We went to him on Friday, January 11. On Monday, we got $2 million. Very important. Later, I only went to him with a hat, you know, and he dropped another 2. That was very important. Georgia Tech at that time had $1 billion endowment, now maybe 2, which means very low. You know, you read now what's the endowment of the universities. And couldn't invest, you know. And so that was helped us to develop the first courses. So I appointed a working group in September 2022 of faculty. Leadership didn't interfere. I gave them 6 months to work. At the end, there was a vote, 75% voted for, okay? The pros and cons, and you'll see what the compensation is. The teaching in the online program is extra, but they get, I'm a strong believer in incentives. Faculty sometimes volunteer, especially before tenure, but you cannot expect somebody to keep on volunteering. You need incentives. It must be worth the while. 3 main concerns: quality, quality, quality. And we did it. The president and provost did 3 things. First, I told you, they let me do it. Second, they convinced, we are in state universities, so there is the university system of Georgia. They had to go to board of regents, it's like the board of trustees, and to get their green light. And of course, they also didn't understand it and approved it. It was announced in May 13 and launched in January 14. So now it's in its 12th year. Our motto is accessibility through affordability and technology. The main thing for us is access. Now, that was the bombshell. That was an earthquake. So I said $7,000. You know, I told 4,000 will break even. 7,000. Our leadership. That's another contribution that they shifted it. So we ended up having revenues, net revenues, which are now $15 million. And there are other revenues for Georgia Tech. I'll get to it later. So it costs $800. In public university, for out-of-state students, it's $40. For in-state, usually 30 or 25. Colombia, for example, it's 70. Okay? There was immediately article in the front page of the New York Times, even before we started. It caused an earthquake. And this was the first accredited MOOC-based. The courses are not MOOCs, but the technology is of MOOCs, which means there's certain ways that we do MOOCs. They're in section, and in between the section, there are quizzes to make sure that the student. We did online for already since the internet came about. Before the internet, we did also distance learning by sending tapes. But with the internet, what most of the university did in the pandemic, they just taped the course. It's very low quality. Here we have staff, professionals, and they work one full semester to make a course. Correct, change, re-edit, a lot of work. Okay. So why did we do it? The motto of Georgia Tech is progress and service. We believe it's progress and service. We have history of innovation in education. We invented what's called threads, a way to do undergraduate education in computer science. Several universities copied it, including Stanford, but Stanford never copies, so they call it streams. And MS and CS are the natural place to start. We already did several MOOCs, there were MOOCs. The technology was maturing, so that was a good time to start to do it. But this is the main reason. MOOCs, everybody took it. Usually single digits finished it. If you don't pay, you usually drop. The first, if you they pay a little, several hundred per course. But still, when you pay, you are not fast to drop it. So many students want, and also you are studying towards a degree. That was the first one for such a price. Okay, so they want credentials. So there were mini credentials. There was a certificate. But what can you do with a certificate? Hang it in the bathroom? So it wasn't worth much. Larger pool of prospective students. It redefined learning experiences, so it had some advantages even over the normal way of teaching, the on-campus teaching. Of course, if you have a class of 40 people or 30 people, you sometimes can sit around the table and teach it. It's the best, But you know what happens in computer science? There's an explosion. At Georgia Tech, if they let all the students be majored in computer science, 90% of them will go to computer science. It's now the hottest field, simply, and everybody wants to study computer science. And also, when you have 200 students in a class, it's almost online. From the third row and beyond, people are playing video games when they are in classrooms. It's very, only the first two rows are in the class. There is, of course, a shortage, big shortage of computing. Somebody predicted that this time it will be 1 million. I think it slowed down. So it's 700,000 shortage of computing professionals. Also, there's shortage of teachers. For high school, for example, very hard to find teachers because everybody that knows to program will not go to teacher for 1/3 of the salary. So you need to be somewhat idealistic to go teach. I'm a strong believer in incentives, as I told you. First, to make the course 30K. It takes a semester. So they get 30K. To be instructor of record, because not everybody almost all of them have been teaching since then, except those that left Georgia Tech. Few. So they teach, every semester they teach the course. So they get 10K if they teach it. If somebody else is a teacher of record, they get 10K, but the creator gets royalty 2.5. So if you teach it in 3 courses, you get 37.5. Not bad. And that's extra compensation. So far we had 64,000 unique applications from October 2013 to today. Admission rates is hovering around 80%. Wait a minute, are you crazy? Universities get their reputation by rejections. If Columbia, until it messed up last year, have admission rates of 3.7%, you know? So they like to reject, you know. Our attitude to put it upside down. We like to accept. And I'll tell you a little bit about the requirements, but we like it when we can reach more students. And in fact, as I'll tell you later, their performance is comparable to those few on campus. 120 countries, all 50 states, majority working in IT, 65% domestic, online. On campus is the other way around, so 35%. Some people ask me why? Because the Indians and the Chinese want to get a visa. So they want to come to the US. And they are the majority of the foreigners. And as you will see, there are 2 indications that we are not touching at all the on-campus. Didn't happen to it anything. The 65-35 and the other one is 35 and 65 shows that they are different population. In a minute, I'll show you another difference. Applications still increasing. It's unbelievable. 2 years ago, it was 7,800. Last year, it was 10,000. And it keeps going up. It might slow down sometimes, but it hasn't yet. 44%, 85% yield from those accepted, 44,000 enrollment so far. Again, in spring 2025, 60,000 started. Here's the second difference. Average age 5, it used to be 8 or 9, but now more younger people start to come. They are older. Online are older by 5 years. So that's another indication that the groups of people for both on campus and online is different. Again, 63% are US citizens or permanent residents, 54 states or territories, 120 countries. Among the new spring 2023, we measured it only 2 years ago, 18% had already prior master's degree, and actually 6% had PhDs among the students. Of course, not in computer science. Minorities, that's something I'm very proud of. That's not up to date. 3.8% on campus, 11% accepted online, about 3 times. Actually, it's now 3.1 and 11.8. So it has even improved further. I'm very proud of it. You know, some minority, you know, they have the option, they can work, make money. They won't stay on campus. Only the spoiled kids that can extend their childhood stay for a master's degree on campus. International enrollment, this is on campus. India number 1, China number 2, Taiwan number 3. You see it drops considerably, so it's mostly from India and Japan. OMSCS, China is number 1, India number 2, Canada is already low, and Singapore is even lower, but I included it. You guess why? Singapore is a country, but it's a city-state. They have 5.4 million. So per capita, they have the same as number 1, US. Okay? So I was in Singapore, one of the 17 countries. I was in Singapore. Everybody is there in the same place. So many of them came to greet me. Retention. How many graduates? So how do we accept? We don't have GREs because we want students from other majors. GRE tests how good you are in computer science. You have to have programming. Programming you must have. And you can take MOOCs before to learn to program. So what we do instead of GRE, we tentatively accept them, and in the first year, they have to have all the grades B and above. Because then we see who can or cannot do it. So if we take from the initial group, 68% finish the degree. If we take only from the group that satisfies the minimum, then it's 85%, which is comparable to master degrees in the best American universities. It might be a little higher, 88 or something. And we went up and up and up. It's still going. We stopped it in 2019, but it's still going up. What they do, the students, more than the on-campus students by a lot, is social media. You see, even more than the number in the program, 28,000 in Reddit, on Twitter, on X, is 7,000. You see, the normal students, they use social media for social life and love life. That's what they use, the social media. And they use it for the study. Some interesting cases, husband and wife. We give them T-shirts, you see. This guy was in the Indian Army, and he served in the Himalayas, and not in the base camp. But only in the base camp there was internet connection. So once a week or once 2 weeks, he went down to see if there is some correspondence. All of them already graduated. And this is my favorite. He drives a garbage truck in New York City. He has a wife and 2 kids, okay? And he finished OMSCS. He loves to drive the garbage truck. I think he still does, but also has a job in computer science. And then help to the military, to help them find a job after the service, okay? And the second from the left, here you see it with a different garderobe. We have seminars once every few months, and he told the seminar to the military how to adjust and how to go from military service to civilian, okay? Quickly, 97 alumni survey. So at the time, I think we had 4,600 answers. 97 says it was the investment. 97 recommended others. 81% said it helped them in career. 48% said it helped them secure a high salary. 36% have joined a new workplace since completing OMSCS. 25% have been promoted. 6% started to teach CS either in high school or college level. And 6% of 4,200 is 250. So at that time, 250 and probably more teachers, which we had a very large need and still do. 5% transition into tech sector. They were not at all in the tech sector. This is the biggest lesson that we learned. There is a large unmet demand, And the other thing is you cannot learn from what you don't try. Or never say never. I just said it twice. What does it mean? People say, CS, it might be okay, but it only works for CS. The second one was business. So of course, it will not go to a major where there are few students, okay? But never say it cannot be done before doing it. And even if you fail doing it, try other ways. You'll find a way to do it, okay? Also, students highly engaged, officially, unofficially, interacting with self-created social media groups, providing significant peer support, and there was amazing story in the TAs. How can we have TAs for so many students? And we do not, even though we invented the first AI TA, we'll get to it, all the TAs are human. Okay, we don't use it, but only partially. And you notice if you add the number is 610 or 630, we need 600. Where will you find them? You know what? Only about 20% are master students in Georgia Tech. The rest are OMSCS students, or more, even larger, OMSCS alums. They love us. Because that was my initial question was, is there a bottleneck? It probably is the number of TAs. Where we find this humongous number of TAs? No, there isn't. Why? OMS students and alums TAs TAing, some for 9 years. 67 of them more than 5 years. The kind of paying back, the kind of keeping the touch, being still involved, and many of them have full-time jobs. Over 100 rejected. So this term that we have over 600, 100 of them were rejected, but when you reject them, they say, try again next year, or next semester, because we're pretty sure they will get in. So I promise you, so the first AITA, it was created by Professor Ashok Goel. It TA'd for one course, Knowledge-Based Artificial Intelligence. It based Jill, they had Jill Watson, they called Watson to NLP program that they made in Watson Research Center. And we called the first AITA Jill Watson, okay? Now it's used in 20 courses, in 20 classes. We also, there are other uses of AI, other projects, online tools, including plagiarism prevention. So we kind of discover them. It's an interesting way how we do it. So we find sometimes. And it's still very easy to find somebody who cheats, who uses ChatGPT. ChatGPT is not very good in solving homeworks in computer science yet. There was a Harvard study after 3 years. It says, vast majority of OMSCS students would not pursue advanced degree if not for this program, and others, there are others, I'll tell you later. That was the only enabler. This is the first rigorous evidence that we know of showing an online degree program can increase educational attainment. So increase the number of students studying computer science. OMSCS is the largest MSCS program in the United States. They predicted it in 2017 or 18. As I said, it's the largest in the world, or at least the claim has been made. The single program will boost annual national production of American computer science master's degree by at least 8%. It's over 10%. I don't know exactly because there are other programs, there are new programs, also in computer science. On the other hand, we now admit 3 times more than we admitted then. So it might be 11 or 12, I'm not sure. I won't get into this part because I think we are getting late. That shows how much, most of the jobs are in computer science. So how much it's hot and how much the need is. But I don't have time. Impact on campus applications. So our normal program, that's every year it went up. So that's in the first 5 years. First 5 years, the number has tripled, okay? We didn't test it afterwards. Also, comparison to the undergraduate, just to show you how CS major is hot, since, so these are the percentages. In the first 5 years of OMSCS, the number of graduates rose by more than 500%. But if you took it since 2008, by more than 1,200%. It's really very hot. How to measure success? All courses are top quality, and we continue to evaluate identical online and on-campus assessment, enrollment scales, financial viability. And I go to finances. Producing a course initially cost us $300K. We learn how to do it better. We halved it. The net, I told you, $15 million. And that's the part that I knew about, and I made a deal with the university. Computer science will get, the university will get 50%, the distance learning arm of Georgia Tech will get 10, and we'll get 40, okay? 35 or 40%, which this year is over $100 million. But this part I didn't know, so I couldn't negotiate a part of it. So, but there is, so the 15 million we got a part. The other part is formal funding by the state. The state give Georgia Tech, because it's part of the state system, according to enrollment, including online enrollment. So that's the $100 million. The money that the state gives to Georgia Tech. With the other two newer program, $150 million a year. Which is, they have the formula, half to the university systems and half to the university. And the half to university is 100 million. Total increase, it's 100 million, as I told you. The first fellows were by University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, okay? They created the IMBA. There was a guy who was associate dean. His name is Rajesh Chamandi. Anybody heard about him? He came to us and learned everything from us and created, after 3 years, IMBA. IMBA. He had an amazing career afterwards. He was associate dean of business in UIUC. He became a dean of business a few years later in Northeastern, in Boston. And a few years later, he returned to Chicago, to Illinois, to be the president of Illinois Tech, or Illinois Institute of Technology. He's now the president of Illinois Tech. Oh, actually, I can do this, because currently there are 70 similar programs by 30 universities. What do you mean similar? Similar, much reduced, but nobody crazily reduced us like us. I think they're usually like 20K, but it's still very cheap. Okay? Our new ones are also 10K, they're not 7K. The new ones, the two new ones. These are the three biggest. OMSCS, the two new ones in Georgia Tech are analytic and cybersecurity. OMSCS is 16,000, analytics is 5,600, IMBF is 4,500. OMSCS enrollment in Georgia Tech is 29% of the enrollment of the university, and together with the other two, 42%. We are closing on half the number of students in 3 online programs. We started going undergraduate when I was dean. We started with the first course, Introduction to Computing with Python. And we gave the on-campus students the option to take it online. About every semester, there are 500, half of them take it online. They prefer it. They prefer it for another reason. So half of them take it. In a student surveys, 94% say the course is at least as good, and 81% say that it's better than the on-campus course. You know why? Because I cheated. I put the best teacher there. We also, many high schools now are using this course for AP. There's all the OMSCS courses have a MOOC version. So if you want to go to watch it, to learn it by yourself, not to get any grade, nobody will grade you, 500,000 so far watch this course. 2 more online, the object-oriented programming with Java and algorithms. The baby course in algorithms, the first course in algorithms that every major takes. Here's my vision. My vision, I don't say let's go online for bachelor. I say let's go online for about 1/3. What do I mean? First, you can take these 3 courses before you come to college. You can stay at home. You can have a job. So the first year or the first semester, you do it from home. Second, at the end, advanced undergraduate courses are like master courses. Sometimes you take master courses. So they can take OMSCS courses. So they can go, not graduate yet, take a job, and finish it in the first year or 2 of the job. And the third opportunity, though much smaller one, is many students take internships. They go for, so sometimes summer, but sometimes they take semester or a year off. So then they can take, once they're in internship, 1 course. Each semester they are. So they can accumulate 30 to 40% of the degree. And if you make the students take the online courses when they are not on campus, then the university can have more students. The better university will have more students. Who will lose? The weak universities. But the better university will have more students, and as a result, the income from tuition will remain the same, and the online will be extra. So that's my vision. Hasn't happened yet. I'm pushing, but I'm nobody now, so it's hard. I think I covered all this. It always is up to meaningful reduction, because if we charge for the online much lower tuition, still we give extra income to the university, but the university will not lose because they still will have to have the same number of on-campus students. Shortage of US professors, you see the number of students and the number of professors, a big shortage. Leverage online. So in fact, what happened, there is this increase in applications, huge increase. And we now accept more. In the number of students in our major went up. And what helped is that the 3 biggest courses have also an online version. Because we got to the point that there are no classrooms, or not enough professors. But now the online take care of about half of each of these 3 courses. So it allows us to grow up to a point. The heroes are the faculty. They climb the mountain. We got 3 prizes. I won't go over them. The media, unbelievable. I think OMSCS got media, like 1,200 or 1,300 stories in the media. I think it's more than the Georgia Tech got in all of its history. The first one was in the New York Times. I'll get to it in a moment. Front page of the New York Times. The second one is Weekend Interview. You see who is this clown there. You see the clown, right? The second was Weekend Interview in Wall Street Journal. The third was in Forbes. And I told you the other one on Forbes, the best in history. And they were also in Italian and Hebrew, you know, in Israel. And the first one in the New York Times, they interview Jim Gates. Jim Gates is apparently the best black scientist in the US, possibly the world. He's a member of National Academy of Science, and he won Obama's National Science medal, Very few have this honor. And he invited me to PICAST. He was in PICAST, Presidential Council of Advisors in Science and Technology. That's where I gave the first talk. The first talk, Hennessy invited me. I gave 2 talks in Stanford, one to the board and one to the faculty. And the third was PICAST in DC. And he said something very nice, which I'll read to you, and I think we're doing fine with the time. Perhaps Galil and Sebastian Tran will prove to be the Wright brothers of MOOCs, said S. Gates, a University of Maryland physicist who serves on President Obama's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology, PICAST. This is the first deliberate and thoughtful attempt to apply education technology to bring instruction to scale. It could be epoch-making if it really works. It could begin the process of lowering the cost of education and lowering the barriers for millions of America. So when he wrote it, I asked Jim Gates, I said, James, why Wright brothers? We didn't invent anything. He said, because you will find whether MOOCs will fly. And we did. But I told him, we're not the Wright brothers. We are the wrong brothers. Both misspelled, of course. Okay, if you're interested, there are 2 in communications of the ACM, I have 2 papers. One of them is on the cover about creating that's revolutionary. They also use the term revolutionary. I'm hesitant, but I adopted it. This is the biggest supporter of OMSCS. One is Mike Crow. Mike Crow is the president of the ASU. In my humble opinion, he's the best president of a university in the US. ASU was #1 in innovation in the last N years. I don't know how many. He is the best. I knew him because he was vice provost at Columbia. It's another story. The second, Jim Gates, I told you about, so he's the best president. He is the best scientist. This is Jim Gates, the best black scientist, scientist. I believe so. I'm not sure. If it's not true, it's close. And the third is somebody called Barbara Oakley. She is the queen of the MOOCs. Her MOOC, Learning How to Learn, was taken by 5.5 million people. And they are big fans and supporters. Also, OMSCS appeared in 3 books, okay? And this is a good point to stop and to have questions. Thank you.
So we have time for question and answer. Folks on the Zoom call, please put your question in the chat box, and my colleague Ron and Fajal will take that. But before that, anybody in the audience has any question? Okay, Tony.
Hello, my name is Tony Johnson. I work in computer science. Very interesting talk. Congratulations to you and what you have done in your program. My question is, what resources do you offer professors and instructors who are coming into the program to teach online, as far as their courses, how to set their courses up, learning management systems, and the like? Do you have
so I told you, first of all, there is a professional staff. You know, making a course is like making a movie. And you don't need great actors, but it's like making movies. And it takes 3 months. And they get $30,000 for this. That's a big resource. It's a big incentive. And also they are incentivized to teach the course. And plus, for the creation, even if they don't teach, there are 2 that stop teaching. Somebody else needs to teach it. So they get the 10,000. But the creators still get 2,500. So I'm a strong believer in incentive, and it worked beautifully. Almost all those that starting teaching are still teaching. It's unbelievable. And thank you for your nice words. More?
Wale, again, folks on the Zoom, please put your question in the chat box.
Thank you so much. Really very interesting presentation. It's really remarkable. You are really going to change the world, 10, 20 years from now. The question I have for you is that the population is changing drastically. There are a lot of people.
What do you mean by appropriation? What changes?
Population. People from South America, Mexico, and Africa. Are you getting applications from that sector of the world?
We do some. We have some from Africa, but about 100. We have from several countries from Africa, but not huge numbers yet. We'll see. It may explode. It might be. I was concerned that there is a limit, that we'll get to a large enough number that we won't be able to do it, and we have to reject it and to have, because we simply cannot handle it. Hasn't happened yet. I'm not saying it will not happen. If it doubles for next year, we cannot do it. But it's gradually going up.
So we have some question from the breeze as well, but I'll give it to Jeff Jabis first.
Fantastic presentation. Quick question. You mentioned funding that you're getting. First, you mentioned some funding that you got from AT&T, $2 million.
Eventually four.
Eventually four, right? But then later on in your talk, you mentioned that you've got a partnership with, I guess, the state where you're getting money from Georgia, like many million. I guess my question is, how important is this external funding to the operation of the program, and how, right?
You see, there are expenses all the time. We created initially 5 courses. Now we have 45. It costs a lot. It costs 300 initially, now 150 to make one course. So what happened with the number, so we get 35% of the net. So, and for this, we fund the incentives, all the expenses. We fund, from this we fund the investment in the new courses. So initially, we didn't have this surplus to fund the initial course. That's why AT&T was so important. We got some money to create the courses, but immediately it grew, and not only it paid for itself, it paid for creating new courses. So it's self-sustained, and more so. It helped the budget of the College of Computing, because 4.5 million. Just imagine your Department of Computer Science having extra 4.5 million. It's a dream.
Yeah. So we have a question online.
So the first question I have here is, how do you remotely proctor exams?
I didn't hear the question.
So if you have an exam that you give online, how do you proctor those?
So that's a question usually asked about cheating. So there are one of the expenses. There are supervisors. You sit with your PC, the camera is on you. Whether in general, everybody that is good can cheat. There is no perfect way to eliminate cheating.
Yes,
but there are the supervisors, like on campus, there are supervisors. It didn't help them because somebody, I know because my friends did it. At the beginning of the exam, the student being helped threw them the exam. And sometime later, they threw them back into the classroom, the answers. And they were not caught. You can cheat. With these people that supervise, it's harder. That's what we can do.
Yeah, so one more question then. Let's see, we have, are you considering AI as for future teaching?
Not yet.
Too soon?
Well, not yet. Everybody is excited about ChatGPT. It have improved. But somebody typed in my name to create who is Tzvi Galil. So ChatGPT, that was about a year ago, quite recently. It created a kind of 1-2 pages about me. It all had good sounding text, you know, but very little to do with reality. The program could easily go to Wikipedia and just copy what is written there. I didn't do it, by the way. I don't know, one of my students is suspected, but he doesn't admit that he did the Wikipedia page. He did a pretty good job. The only thing I did, I helped correct a couple of mistakes. You know, there were a couple of simply wrong things, so it was corrected. But they could go to the Wikipedia, read about me. No, he only gave you 10% from a text. So they can do it. And it will look correct, and it will be correct, but they invented everything, and it was essentially all wrong. I don't know. I am not in a position to tell you how these AI programs are now, but it's clear that they will cause the replacement of jobs. Hopefully there will be new jobs, you know. We don't know. Because some technical and simple jobs it can do better than a human.
So we'll take any last question from the floor here.
The online don't ask questions.
Bajal, and they did. We're also storing the questions.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Galil. A question about many people that I talk to. I have been instructor as well. And my friends and a lot of other people, they tell me that their bachelor on campus, that part of the life was the best life. So
no, of course. That's why I am totally for preserving it. But you know, for example, Georgia Tech, only 80% of the students finish in 6 years, the bachelor. Part of it, because they fail sometimes, or sometimes take time off, and whatever. This, from the 6 years people, it will reduce it to 4. From the 4, it might be reduced to 3.
okay. And
So it will shorten and proportionally also reduce the cost.
Okay.
It still will not solve the horrendous price of college will still be horrendous, but it will ameliorate.
And the second question I have, you mentioned a shortage of professors. Back to Ron's question, Bill Gates mentioned a couple of days ago that many doctors and many other lawyers will be replaced by AI in the future in 9-10 years. So is it possible to have an AI as a teacher instructor? Thank you.
Maybe some simple courses, maybe, I don't know. I'm not, my field is not AI, and I'm not expert in AI. Plus, I'm not a prophet, and there was no prophet in my family. So
Yeah.
I usually don't know what will happen to me tomorrow, okay? So but what will happen to you tomorrow is even harder.
Yeah. So Zvi, just to answer a question, there are 2 online questions. Those are the questions from online. So I think at this time, unless there's a compelling question in online, we can close this session. We'll have a break. But is there any? Just take one more. Just if you have a compelling question.
So this is online question?
Online question, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so some courses require intense TA participation for hands-on projects, et cetera. How do you manage to scale tutoring?
As I said, we have a 1 TA for 40 students. So they have office hours. The professor maybe once or twice in the semester will have kind of a conference of the students, okay? But the TAs have office hours, and everybody has access, and we never heard complaints. So we try to hold their hands, whoever needs it.
Thank you, Zvi.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I enjoy loving it. I love giving it, and I love that there are questions.
Zvi, there are more questions. We'll send it to you so you can answer. At this time, we're going to have a break. Before that, I'd like to invite Wale, Jeff, and Tamim, please come on, ACM Baltimore chapter XCOM. I'd like to felicitate SB. And also, we just take a group picture right after this, so we can come on the dais and just take a picture, All right, Jeff. So I'm going to read this as SB. You want to be picture also, please?
I'll take it out.
So this is ACM Baltimore chapter on IEEE extends its appreciation to Prof. SB Galil for delivering the invited talk titled Georgia Tech's Revolutionary Online Program and the Future of Online Learning in Higher Education. ACM Baltimore chapter 8 seminar 2025, Laurel, Maryland, April 3rd, 2025. Please come and you can, Tamim, where are you? You can just hold back and Wale, we should all come in the picture. And